Hey, hello, folks, and welcome to Let's Go Fishing. And my guest tonight's Marty Carpenter. Marty, glad to have you on the show.
Good to be here. Glad that you're having us here.
Perfect. You know, I told the folks last week, week before last, because last week was a rerun. Week before last, that I was going to have you over here, and for them to be ready. It's going to be a treat. I mean, we got some good film. I wish I could have got down there that day and got out on the boat and fished with y'all for a little while, but I did catch you there at the weigh-in and got a lot of your people in your club. East Tennessee Catfish Anglers, folks, is the name of the club, and we'll get Marty on here in a second and let him tell us all about what they got going on, this, that, and the other. We got about 14 minutes of good film, and so I'm gonna, quick as Herschel gets through making these minor adjustments, we're gonna be ready to rock and roll here. Before I get to you, Marty, I gotta say hello to my dad. He gets mad at me and Mike sometimes here lately, and boy, we don't want him mad.
No.
So I want to say hello to Dad and Paul Harrison. I hope you're doing well, and for sure, Paul, a good friend of mine, was cutting the reel off of a rod up to his house a few weeks ago, and just about jabbed that knife plumb through his hand, or through his wrist here, and cut the arteries there pretty bad, and he was kind of blacked out in the yard when his wife got home. So we're glad Paul's doing good, and hope he continues to get better, and because Paul, you know, it's fly time. We're going to have plenty of jigs and stuff like that. So I want to say hello to him and Paulie and Bill Nichols for sure. Herschel, you ready to show the film? Okay, let's do the film, folks, and then when we get that's over with, I'm going to turn it over to Marty, and he's going to tell you all about these catfish. Hey, folks, I'm down here at Caney Creek with East Tennessee Catfish Anglers, and they got a basket full of fish over here going to weigh in. I'm going to get to talk to some of these gentlemen, so just hold on and we'll see what happens here. Hold them up, Marty. Oh, man.
Sorry.
There we go. Golly, how much is that in weight?
40.8.
40.8, folks. Daggone it. Man, that's a nice one.
We won't do that one Dad told me, he said, give us a pair, we'll fillet it up and give him to me.
41.2. Second was us with 71.9. First was Derek and Austin, 34.7.
1, 2, 339, 240s. Is there a 38 on there? Yeah. 38. Dang.
All right, a couple things real quick. Trophies and plaques. I've talked to some of you. They're on the way. The people that I get them from had some issues. The mother-in-law or mother of Ginger is in the hospital and not doing good. So I just said put us on hold. They were swamped with football banquets and stuff. I said, look, we're big kids. We can handle it. We don't need them. I'll see the guys. We can get them out later. So as soon as they get them done, I'll either call you or I'll have them on December 7th if you're going to fish stuff. Karen, are you trying? Yeah. If we fish if you fish a Poland Creek, I could have them then. If for some reason I don't, I'll let you know. We can get them out at our scheduling meeting. And I'm trying.
That's the Birchfield tournament?
Yeah. December 7th.
December the 7th at Poland Creek.
$20
per person.
$20 per person.
Biggest fish. Winner take all. Say it to the camera.
I'm sorry.
No, December 7th.
7th.
I can't believe you guys are fishing in,
9 to 3. We're crazy.
Yeah.
We're not stupid. We're crazy.
Yeah, I thought bass fishermen were the only ones that's crazy, but I'm glad to know there's other people.
But it's 9 to 3. We got 6 hours. 6-hour tournament, 9 to 3. Like I say, $20 a person. You can have as many people on the boat. You're all fishing for one big fish. Everybody fishes against each other. And weigh-in will be at 3. And if there's any change, I told Stanley if for some reason it turns off cold and we're not going to have it, let me know and I'll start calling everybody I can call to tell them. Our meeting, I want to try to get it done before the...
Hey folks, I'm here with two gentlemen, and your name's what now?
Taryn Heinrich.
Taryn Heinrich.
Jared Coker.
Jared Coker. Yeah. And you guys tell me about the year, and you're the angler of the year, big fish catcher of the year. What kind of accolades have you won this year?
We've won just a couple of the club tournaments. We keep points all year. We track of all our total weights. And it's just an appreciation of where you finish at each tournament. And that's how you finish out the year.
All right. What was your big fish for the year?
69.5 pounds.
69.5 pounds. And you caught it where at?
Fort Loudon.
Fort Loudon.
Yeah, we had big stringer of the year too, 126.6.
How many fish was that? Two. Well, wait just a second now. 2 fish weighed 126.6 pounds, folks.
Yeah. It was the Gary Lindsay Memorial Tournament.
I remember those weights, a 60-some pounder and
66 and 60.
yeah, man, I saw that on the website. Well, listen, congratulations to both of you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it, sir.
I hope we run into one another again.
You have to go fishing with us.
Yeah, I guess you use a top water plug or spinner bait to catch those catfish on.
It's all chicken livers.
Big crickets.
Big crickets.
As big as you can find.
But big, okay, well, that sounds good. With a real tiny hook, I'm sure. All right,
And a
guys.
bobber.
And a bobber. Seriously, you all use pretty good sized rod and reels, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We use 9-foot heavy rods with 85 or 90 series bait runners.
Yeah.
And we use it sometimes. We use Abu Garcia, like the line counter, 3,500.
Yeah,
pretty big.
Yeah.
80-pound test, break.
Oh man, well, you use what I use for anchor rope. Let me ask you one more question for the viewers here. How deep do you usually catch your fish? I mean,
Well, we caught our biggest ones this year. We caught real deep, like the 66. And what was funny, the 66, the 60, and the 69, we caught in the same exact spot.
oh
And it was
man,
in about probably 60 feet of water.
60 feet of water, no kidding.
But you can catch them all year anywhere from 5 foot deep in the spring,
Right.
all the way to 100 foot deep in the heat of the summer.
Man. Well, one other question, being that I'll say you use a reel from about a 1/4 ounce sinker, right?
We used when those we were using 8-ounce sinkers.
8-ounce sinkers. I knew it was quite large, but I wanted to mention that.
9-aught hooks.
And when I get to a 3/4 ounce, that's kind of
Swinging it.
yeah, that's about as far as I go right there. Maybe a 1 ounce occasionally, but 8-ounce sinker, folks, 60 foot of water. Man. Well, gentlemen, congratulations again.
Appreciate it.
All right. Appreciate you. Glad to have you on the
Right,
show.
thanks.
Thank you. All right.
They definitely.
Hey, folks, I got 3 gentlemen here, and they are the classic winner for the today down here at Caney Creek. And how much weight did y'all have?
We had 74.9, I think it was.
74.9 pounds. Man, how many fish was that?
That's 3.
That's 3 fish. And you're what? What's your name?
I'm Andy Coker.
Andy Coker.
Derek Coker.
Derek Coker.
Austin Coker.
Austin. Well, we've got the Coker family in here, folks, and it sounds like they had a great day. And that was 3 fish.
Yes, sir.
Weighed 79 pounds.
74.
74 pounds. Man alive. That's just, whew, goodness gracious. Y'all fish, I mean, I guess you fished all the tournaments pretty much?
Yeah, we had pretty good. This was actually our first season doing catfishing, so it was definitely it was an experience.
I'd say so. Did you catch a lot of smaller fish that you released, or what? Is that the game plan? You just keep trying to upgrade?
Yeah.
Okay.
We caught 3 fish we weighed in by 9:20, and by 10 o'clock we had caught probably 15, 20 to 30 pound fish.
Dang. So you caught a lot of 20 to 30 pounders, but you didn't keep them. You got
Yeah, you gotta throw them back if you can keep one over 34.
yeah. All right, folks. There you have it. Man, congratulations.
Appreciate it.
All 3 of you. Yes, sir.
Appreciate
Nice
it.
to
Thank
have
you.
you on here. Yes, sir. All right. Folks, I'm going to just kind of show you one of these boats that these guys catfish out of, and the rods and the rod holders and all that kind of stuff. I mean, you know, they're not going out there to play around. They've got the like we used to say, you don't take a switch to bear hunt with. So they've got the stuff. These guys are serious about this thing, and so it's something else. I mean, to tell you, that when you see one of them on the lake, you'll see what I'm talking about.
There's our bait.
Oh, there's their bait. Oh man. Okay. There you go, folks. We're getting educated right here quick, I can tell you. All right. Thank you, sir. Okay. Folks, I'll show you Marty Carpenter's boat here. He told me when I talked to him on the phone that they had a pontoon boat and took all the seats off of it and had it covered with electronics, rod holders, live bait wells, and everything in the world. And I see it all. He's definitely got it. So we'll get him on camera here in a few minutes and let him tell us about the tournament trail and that kind of thing. So just stand by. Folks, I'm here with Marty Carpenter, and you're the president of the East Tennessee Catfish Anglers?
Yes.
All right. Tell us about your day today, Marty.
We had a great day. We probably boated 35 fish or more, 3 fish in the 40s, just us alone, and then several other fish bigger, over 34 inches. So we had a good day. It was constant bite all day long.
Well, I want to remind you folks there a while ago when we was on camera, they had a wheelbar to haul those fish in. So that tells you anything. But you're going to be my guest December the 5th, and you know, we're going to talk about your club rules, what you all do, how you protect the resources, catch and release, and all that kind of stuff, and some of the rules for your tournament, and get some more people interested in fishing for these catfish.
We would really like that. It is a growing sport, and you know, you can look at Cabela's and Bass Pro Shop. They've got a circuit now, and some of our guys fish with them. We try not to schedule on them, but it is growing, and you know, we picked up new members this year. It just seems like we can never be together at the same time, you know. But I would like to see it grow more. We're never going to overtake bass, but you know, that's fine. We do what we want to do, and yeah, and it's a whole lot of fun. I guarantee you, every now and then I catch a catfish or two, you know, bass fishing, and yeah, when you hook one, you know it. I mean, the fight's on, you know. Yeah, and it's definitely on when you hook them, especially in some current like we had today. It was a tough tug of war there for a while.
Well, I hope to get out with you, Marty, and folks, they've got another tournament December the 7th. So they're hardcore. I told them I didn't think bass fishermen was the only crazy ones around, but I've done run across another group now. So we're going to see how that turns out, and be looking forward to getting him over on the show December the 5th, and tell you all about their club and really what they're about. So, Marty, thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Hope to see you. Can't wait to see you. And
I'm looking forward to it.
And you're going to have to take me out and show me how.
I'll be glad to.
All right.
You're welcome anytime.
Appreciate it. Thank you, man.
All right.
Okay, folks, I tell you what, I was just sitting here telling Marty there, I said, man, I had a ball down there at that weigh-in. It'd been awful if I'd been out on the boat with them. But, just to see that group of people and how passionate they were about their sport, it really made me feel good, you know. There's other crazy people around besides us bass fishermen. So, Marty, have at it, man. Just tell us all about it.
Well, I don't know where to start. You know, first we appreciate you having us on here, and what you done that we didn't know about all year long. We didn't know you'd been telling people about our tournaments. And actually, I think we got a couple of members or a couple of boats that they said they saw us on TV, and I didn't know about it, and I just assumed it was from the Gary Lindsay tournament where we had a little news coverage, and then come find out they were from Kingston, so they saw it on Channel 12. But anyway, you know, I think we're a good group of guys. Like you said, we all are very open and sharing. If you know, we don't really have a whole lot of secrets. We got a few that we don't tell anybody about, but for the most part, we'll share with whatever. But our club started, I believe it was around 2001. Another man started it, and we fished 4 tournaments first year, then 10, and then grew a little bit, and he ended up changing jobs and give it up, and I took it over, and we've pretty much been consistent. We've not been a bunch of members, or we've not really fallen way off, but we've just sort of stayed consistent. We've got a real good group of core guys, you know, eight or so boats that are there just about all the time, and you know, real good people to work with, and you know, most of us trust each other with anything, and you know, that makes it fun. You know, you don't have any kind of you know, problems, you know, at weigh-ins or anything like that. Everybody sort of already knows the rules and kind of knows what's expected of them.
Boy, that sounds good. I know that makes it a lot easier when you're handling the weigh-in and in charge of the weight of the fish and that kind of thing. You know, you guys are looking for, you want to expand, you want to grow. You know, and I'll just tell you right quick, when I got the fishing show started back in February, I told people, you know, it's not just strictly bass. We'll do anything. And I had your flyer here, and I just kept on, you know, every week if you had a tournament coming up, I tried to tell everybody about it. And you know, I'm tickled to death that I did after seeing your weigh-in down there and that kind of thing. So and just tell us anything you want to. You know, I mean, I'm interested in what we catch them on.
well, we can get to that. Most of us, you know, there's store-bought baits and things like that. Most of us use fresh
cut skipjack or gizzard shad.
Mm-hmm.
Different times of the year, bluegill work, live bluegill. It just kind of depends. I feel better if I've got fresh bait, and we've been beaten several times with guys that use frozen bait.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's, you know, kind of like your favorite bass lure, whatever you feel most comfortable with and whatever you got most confidence in, you're going to catch fish on.
Right.
And that's kind of the way we are. But I would say the majority of us use cut skipjack.
Mm-hmm.
And most of us are able to get it year-round. There's a few times it gets scarce. And you know, gizzard shad, live or cut, are good too.
Right.
We've not found a difference from Loudon to Watts Bar as far as which is better on either place. You know, you know, the way we catch our skipjack is, I was telling you earlier, some guys are able to use the throw net, and I never have. But we catch them on crappie jigs or grubs, and just, you know, 2 or 3 on a line like a sabiki rig, throw and just reel it fast. And you know, if they're feeding on minnows, they're around, they're going to hit it. And that comes from years crappie fishing and trying to keep the daggum things off my crappie jigs when I'm crappie fishing.
Right.
And then you know, like we were talking about the club earlier, we started back in '01 and kind of grew, and after 2 or 3 years, we made a commitment that we wanted to take care of the fish more than anything, so we eliminated stringers.
Mm-hmm.
It's all live well, and a lot of the guys, you know, have an expensive live well, or you know, that one big boat you saw, the White Sea Ark, Jared and Terrence, they have, you know, a big live well built in with an aerator. We use kind of a homemade thing, a truck toolbox, and we've got a 1,250 gallon bilge pump that we've made an aerator system out of to work. And most of the guys have come up with a live well system, and that has really made a difference on taking care of a fish.
I thought that was your bait well, but then you let one of the guys let me know that was the live well that are on your pontoon boat, but that's great, you know. And I kept thinking, man, some of the my live well's not big enough to get your.
Well, there's not many that are.
Yeah, I'll tell you, folks, it was awesome down there. It really was. But I'm glad, you know, and you're doing what we all want to do is protect our fish. You know,
right.
we want to catch them and turn them back loose and know that they're surviving and swimming off, and that's a great thing. So the questions I had, you know, was the line size, the hook size. You know, you fill me in on the baits and the sinkers, and you know, we were talking, folks, a while ago, and tell us about this 90-some pound catfish.
Oh, well, and this is another story in itself, but it's been a few years back, and I don't remember the exact year, but the date was July the 14th, and we had a tournament, and we put in off of Highway 72 on Watts Bar, and boy called me after we'd been fishing. He said, I got one that won't fit in my live well. And we do have a stringer clause. If someone's got a fish that big, they can string them. They'll bring them to me, and I'll check the fish, make sure it's, you know, not been on a stringer, and then we'll let them string it on a stringer I give them. He brought it, and I looked at it, and he thought it was about 70, 75 pounds. I said, no, that's pushing 100. And he strung it, brought it weigh in, it weighed 96. And at weigh-in, we were looking at the fish and admiring it, and I knew on July the 4th, a boy named Shane Hill had called me and says, I need you scales. And I said, where are you? He said, we're down at Highway 72 practice fishing. And I'm like, well, I'm at Dollywood, so that wasn't going to happen. But he got somebody else to bring some scales, and the fish he caught weighed 100.3. And he released it, and Scott Lee was the one that caught it in the tournament and weighed it in, and we were looking at the fish, and it had such odd markings on it. The left pec fin, I believe, had been nubbed off, and it had a whisker that came out and forked, and then it had a scar on the head. And Shane's pictures, and that fish, I mean, it was the same fish, and it was caught just a few hundred yards from where it was caught on July the 4th.
Gee.
So in a way, I was kind of disappointed because I was hoping there were 200-pounders in that area instead of just one. But that was a kind of a neat story within a story there. And so far that's been the biggest single fish weighed in.
Right.
In all of our tournaments.
Huh, man, that's a pretty good sized fish, Marty. I'll tell you what. You know, I've caught a few in the 30, 40 pound range out bass fishing. You know, and man, that thing pops up out of the water good. It's gracious. You don't know what thing. I'd hate to think what a 100-pounder would look like. You know, but what kind of rules do you all have in your club? I mean.
Well, those, some of the basic rules. We've got another sheet that's got some more rules in it. But you know, basically we can I put my glasses on?
Oh yes, go ahead. I have to wear mine here.
I have
short.
to wear
I'll
my
be
cheaters
putting mine
here.
on here in a minute myself.
You know, we start off from the start. You know, it's $50 for the team to fish, and right now it may change after our rules meeting we're going to have next month, but. It's $50 for the team. It can be one person, 2 people, 3 people, 4 or 5. We don't have a limit on how many can fish on the boat. Each person needs to be a member of our club, and that's a $10 one-time fee. And all of that money basically goes to buy the hardware that we get at the end of the season. And by that I mean trophies and plaques and things for the season winners and the angler of the year and the classic trophies and things like that. Whatever's left over, we just carry to the next year. We may need to replace scales or whatever, but it's mainly for the club. We do have a rod limit. This past year, we set it at 10 rods. That's in the water at one time. You can carry as many as you want on your boat, but 10 in the water. And our limit this past year has been, we did a little bit different than the state. State says you're allowed to have one 34-inch fish or larger per person on the boat. Well, we just do one per boat, and then you're keeping 2 fish under 34 inches. So 3 fish for your limit, 1 over 34 inches, and two shorter fish. And we vote on that in January. We may go to 2 fish altogether, or maybe just 1 big fish, or keep it like it is. You know, we kind of all get together and decide what we want to do when it comes to that. You know, once tournament's underway, you know, a 200-yard, just so we're not getting too close to each other, crowding anybody. Well, I'm sorry, that's 100 yards between each boat.
Yeah, okay.
And like I said before, we eliminated stringers, and that was just to take care of the fish. You know,
I agree.
You drag around the fish all day long, or put him in the bottom of your boat and bounce him all the way in. He's not going to be too happy when he's turned back. Of course, we do the checking at blast off. We'll check live wells, check boats, make sure that everybody's legal. We don't allow alcohol during the tournament times or at weigh-in. Of course, all the state regulations, everything hold up for us. We have to have a license, a regular fishing license, and all that. And we got a rule there that says no fishing a pre-baited hole, and basically, it's not a chumming rule. You know, during a tournament, we decided there's really no way to say you can't chum, because if I cut a piece of bait and I don't want to use it to bait my hook, say it's the tail fin or something, and I toss it in, well, technically that's chumming. So I said, guys, I don't think if we had to pass a lie detector, we could pass it on that.
Right.
So we just sort of left the chumming out and says, you know, no fishing a pre-baited hole, not going out and feeding fish for 2 or 3 days and then going back and catching them. You know, that's basically the basic rules. Some of the others, you know, kind of get a little more technical, or really haven't been in play for a while. We sort of looked at somebody else's rules and kind of copied them. And these are mainly, you know, if somebody come up and said, I want to fish, and it's on the flyer, you know, that's basic things. If they had any other questions, you know, they can ask. And normally when they come and fish, I'll hand them the bigger sheet, and they can make sure they see everything else there.
Yeah. Well, how many people can you fish in one boat with the 10 rods? What's the deal on that now?
Well, the boat's allowed 10 rods, whether you got one person or 5 people.
Oh, okay. All right.
And that's just, you know, and like I say, that may change in January.
Okay.
But right now, that's kind of been the way. And even before, when we didn't have a rod limit, you know, it didn't matter. Now, Cabela's and Bass Pro, they have a national circuit. And
right.
Some of our guys, the Taryn and Jared that were in the Big White Sea Arc, they fished some of the Cabela's, and some of our other guys, Shane and Eric, have fished Cabela's or Bass Pro, I'm not sure which, but we got guys that are going out. They're fishing
And
not just
local,
home waters all the
yeah.
time. They're
Okay.
branching out some and competing pretty good at it. And their rules are 6 rods.
Yeah.
No matter how many you got on the boat, 6 is what you can have in the water.
Okay.
I don't know if we're going to cut down to 6 or if we're going to stay at 10 or go back to 14 or whatever. But I like the 14. Of course, we're a little bigger boat with more people. We can fish more, but it gives you a little more flexibility. You can rig a couple rods that you wouldn't want to maybe depend on catching a fish. Just maybe a slip float and set one at 20 foot and just let it drift around.
Okay.
There's been times that's paid off. That now if I'm only using 10 rods, I'm not going to waste one and try to do that. Just on a whim. Especially if the others are getting a bite. So, different things like that. But some of the major rules that we have evolved into, like I said, was the eliminating the stringer, going live well only, and then we lobbied with the state or with other people when they did the 34-inch rule. I personally sent letters, and some of our members sent letters or emails to the TWRA that was talking about this. There was a lot of people didn't like it, mainly commercial fishermen, because it does limit them to one also, not just sport fishermen, but it's across the board. And I can understand that. That's kind of their livelihood, but I was glad to see it, because this is we have a great fishery that a lot of people don't realize, and I think it was in Fisherman Magazine ranked Fort Loudon and Watts Bar as in the top 5 in the nation.
Yeah.
And that's saying a lot, because there's some great catfishing waters in the nation, but those are in our backyard.
I don't doubt it. Let me ask you about commercial fishing of the catfish. They use trot lines and nets and things of that nature. I've kind of asked around, and they quit commercial fishing Watts Bar. Is that true?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now I shouldn't say yes so quickly, because I'm not so sure there's not still some commercial fishing that's not supposed to be for catfishing. And it's mainly because of the consumption warnings and all that.
Right.
But I think a couple years back they voted to close commercial catfishing on Watts Bar. And I think that's one reason Loudon has been so good. It's been closed for several years. And I grew up on Loudon, and I can remember going out and catching 20, 30, 4 or 5 pounders.
Right.
Never anything great big, and then all of a sudden it's hard to catch those 4 or 5 pounders. They're all pretty good sized fish now. And that's, for now anyway, we're reaping the benefits of that closed commercial fishing. But I don't know what the future is going to hold. What lakes or places have shown in the past when they close the commercial fishing. A lot of times fish grow so big, and then they get so numbers, and those sizes start to drop off, whether it's catfish or anything.
Right.
So that's still to be seen what's going to happen in the future.
Well, speaking of Loudon, and we get into the Jerry Lindsay Memorial Tournament over there, back there in July, some of the guys in your club won that catfish division, didn't they?
Right, that was Taryn and Jared, the one in the White Sea Arc there. They and that was one of the reasons they had a phenomenal year. They ended up their 10 weights. We fished 12 tournaments and counted 10 weights.
Yeah.
So you could miss one and not really hurt, but they dropped 2 weights, and their 10 tournaments totaled, well, basically 700 pounds, 699 and a half pounds. And during the Gary Lindsay tournament, I think was 126 something and change.
Yeah.
That was on 2 fish. That's a fantastic. I mean, that doesn't happen often. And they had a couple other tournaments where they were up in the 80s and 90s, and they just had a phenomenal year this year. And I was telling my dad, they did their homework.
Right.
They were on the water more than we were. They were on the water more than a lot of people, and they stayed on the fish. And it's just like bass fishing or crappie fishing. You got to stay on them. You got to know what's going on tomorrow.
That's it right there. It's being able to once you find them, you've got to stay on them. I mean, that's it. You know, you'll spend several weeks trying to find them,
Right.
And then you've got to check them every 2 or 3 days. You need to be checking, making sure they're still there, and that's the key to it. It's like it works for everything: crappie, bass, catfish. It just whatever, you got to stay after them. Sure do. Man, it just dang. You catching your own bait most of the time, and you said you do use some frozen bait and that kind of thing. How's this? You and I were talking down there about the rod length, Marty, and what your theory on that is if you were in a smaller boat, you don't want no 14 or 15 foot rods in a 16-foot boat. It's kind of hard to handle them.
Right.
Is that the thing?
And that's what I found. We started off fishing 10, 12-foot rods, mainly because we bought them at the beach surf fishing,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what we had. And
Right.
And what I found the last few years is actually an 8-foot rod is more manageable. It's got a little better backbone.
Mm-hmm.
You get a little more leverage than the fish does.
Right.
And I think the longer the rod, the more it gives to the fish.
Mm-hmm.
And we have 10 footers on the boat. We have most of ours are 9, and we have 4, 5, 8 foot. And Dad's our number one partner, my number one partner, and he likes to fish sitting down more now. He's
Mm-hmm.
not as healthy as he used to be, but he sets down a lot. So we like the long rods with him, so we can keep the fish off the pontoons a little better.
Mm-hmm.
And then the shorter rods I kind of use on the front of the boat, and I'm able to use bigger bait. Maybe a whole skipjack or a half of one or something like that. And you're able to sling it a little bit better. The longer rod, the more weight you got, you're going to maybe break the tip trying to cast it. So, and it I think it's each person needs their own feel. I don't like to buy a rod that I order online without feeling of it. I like to pick it up and shake a little bit, and check the backbone, make sure it's what I want.
Right.
And I've been, I won't say burnt, but I've been disappointed a few times.
I have too. Exactly.
So once I find one I like, and that's kind of what we're going to stick with.
Yeah, I hear you. You brought some hooks and stuff there that you guys fish with. How about giving us a little preview of that, and let's look it over here and see. Mike, you may not be fishing a big enough hook.
Well, now Bill Dance says use the only the biggest size hook you can get away with, and he's going from low end up.
Mm-hmm.
I like and we've used a 8/0 now for quite a while, and we've used different styles. We've used worm hooks at one time that we were really jacking them up and setting the hook and ripping that face off for them when we did set the hook.
Right.
We tried circle hooks for a while, and it took us about a year to learn how to use a circle hook.
Yeah.
And we never really got good at it because we'd go and miss more than we bring in. And I said, we got to find something else. So I found a few years back, and circle hook I'm talking about, I don't know if this will pick up on camera. It's a Gamakatsu 8/0 circle hook, and it's got the offset eye.
Mm-hmm.
And the one I found a while back is a Team Catfish. I'm not necessarily mean to do commercials for them, but I really like them. It's called a dual action. You can actually set the hook, or you can just lock the reel down and let the fish do the work for you.
Mm-hmm.
But it's an 8/0, and what we really like, most of us, is any hook that's got that wide gap and that wide base where you can use a big piece of bait.
Yeah.
Like I say, a lot of the bait we use is anywhere from a quarter pound to a half pound to even a whole pound for a skipjack. And a lot of times that will have 2 hooks in that. But and then the other one is that I really liked is a Bass Pro Shop version of a circle hook. It's called Cat Max, and I've been using them about a year, and I like the fact that, and I use a lot of bigger bait on it. This will be my hook that I've got, a head and another 2 or 3 ounces of bait behind, or maybe be my lead hook if I had a whole skipjack out and then another hook snailed down below it. And just to put in perspective, that's a 9/0 and that's a 5/0.
Yeah.
And several years back, that was a big hook to me, you know, and that was pretty much what we used was a 5/0 on just about anything. And it's not so much that I think you have to have that huge a hook, strength-wise and muscle-wise, because I've caught 50-pounders on a 5/0 hook, but you can use bigger bait, and the bigger bait kind of discourages the little fish from biting, or maybe you just don't hook them, you might miss them.
Okay.
And the way we rig them is just you bass guys know what I'm talking about when I say Carolina rig. We have a sinker, a swivel, a leader, and a hook. Now this is a little bit shorter leader than normal,
Right.
but we use a bead to protect your knot. This is my own. I'm not going to say my own invention, but it's my own modification. It's oxygen tubing.
Right.
My dad is on oxygen, and we got plenty of it. So I use a big swivel, and I slide my hose through the swivel and then crimp the swivel. We got a little snap that I can hook a 3-ounce, and I put a little eye on my sinker to hook it in. You can buy them made like that, bank seekers or whatever, but I just use a little screw-in eye on that. That way, if we're fishing deep water and I need 4 ounces, I can change it out and without having to cut my line and retie and do all of that.
Yep.
Or if we need lighter sinkers, say we're in shallow water and I need a 1 ounce, just take it off real quick and tie it on, and it slides pretty good. And in current, it doesn't seem to want to wash down on you like if you just had this on. It's just going to roll. If you just run your main line through it, it's just going to keep rolling downstream. So that's a basic rig, and some of us modify, do some different things. Certain times of year, we'll take just a little crappie float, and if fish are suspended, we'll take a crappie float and snap it on our leader. So now we're going to float up off the bottom a little bit. And I've been, if you kind of watch what you're doing, you're not fishing too many rods. You got one rod out, you can actually pull off, say 3 feet of line. That'll float up a little bit higher, 2 or 3 more feet of line. Let it go on up. Try to find where those fish are suspended. Sometimes, if the lake's not turned over and you got that thermocline and you're fishing bottom and you're in bad water down there, there's not enough oxygen, especially in summer. You find that thermocline. If it's 10 feet off bottom, you can do it 2 ways. You can drop it down to them, or you can bring it back up to them. So this is easier than having a float trying to keep up with it out there all the time. So we've done that for several years, and it's had quite a bit of success with it.
Right.
And a lot of this just hit or miss, trial and error. See it in a magazine, see it on a video, things like that. But the hooks, I think everybody's got their own favorite. Mine is those two. That Bass Pro and that Team Catfish. And since we've started using those, I'm not going to say misses, because we're still going to miss fish, but the actual getting fish in the net, that's the important part. Before, when we were really setting the hook and using the worm hook or just a regular J hook, we might fight a fish right into the boat and get ready to net him, and he goes a little wild on us, and boom, he's gone. And a lot of times those hooks hook in the roof of the mouth, which is nothing but bone, and it never gets to the barb. And by the time they get in, that hole's worked out to where all they got to do is open their mouth and flop a little, and they're gone.
Right.
Most of these come in hooked in the corner of the mouth where we want them to be hooked.
That sounds that's a pretty good deal. You guys are just way above 3/4 1 ounce is about the limit on a Carolina rig. A lot of times half ounce is a good way to start, and here you are up there in that 3 and 4 and 8 ounce weight. And I guess the current has a lot to do with it.
It does,
Marty.
Okay. I fish as light as I can. Most of the time, if they're pulling current on Loudon or Watts Bar, either one, it's tough to stay anywhere except straight downstream.
Right.
If you cast a little bit out, you're going to end up downstream pretty soon. We've used pyramids and flat sinkers and others, but this seems to work, probably 75% of the time. The other thing about the little snap is if, instead of taking this off and adding say a 5 ounce or a 6 ounce, I can always add another one of these, which is going to reduce the rolling. It's It's going to add a little more weight, but it's going to keep it from just rolling on down. You know, pyramid sinkers, that's another, you know, thing I brought back from the beach and stuff like that. But, you know, I like I say, I try to stay as light as possible. I just think if things happen and fish can feel it, you know, they're going to bite and then they're going to let go. Yep. So I try to keep it as light as possible, and you know, doesn't always work that way. You got to add, but I start off light and add as we go.
Well, that sounds good. That's some good information. I'll tell you what we're going to do, folks. We're going to turn the phones on, and while we're waiting on a call or between calls, I'm going to make some quick announcements here. Herschel, can you do that for us? Turn us on. All right, man. I'll keep talking. Just whenever you get ready, we'll take a call. All right. Phones is lit up, folks. So I'm hoping you guys will call in and ask Marty some good questions. Maybe want to join the club, find out what's going on, that kind of thing. Wesley, I've got a note here for you if you'll come out here and get it. Right quick, the Heartland Watch Bar Dam, Saturday, December the 7th, folks, on the Heartland. If you want to fish that down there at the dam. December the 14th, which is Saturday week, Division 26. They'll be on Watch Bar at Caney Creek. Then December the 14th, Division 27, Watch Bar, Tom Fuller Park. Those guys will be fishing down there. And then December the 7th, which is this, this coming Saturday, Division 31 North at Point 19. So that's what's going on with the Heartland right now. Marty, East Tennessee Fishing Show, folks. I've got the interview with Miss Sheila Bunch. She's the promoter of the fishing show, and it's going to be the 16th, 17th, 18th, and 19th of January. And that's a big thing. And it's going to be at the Jacobs Building, Chilhowie Park. And you guys are going to be over there, I guess?
Kind of, sort of. We're going to be, I've got some people, some connections at some booths that we're going to have flyers up. I'm going to be there, and you'll see some of us there some of the time. I may not be there every day, but I'll be there at least one day. And but yeah, we will be there browsing and also talking.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I kind of thought you would. The next thing I want to tell you about is Brandon Coulter, a local pro over Merville Way. He's going to be on the show with me next week. He's going to be talking about his fishing episodes and how he got it doing what he's doing and that kind of thing. So I'll be looking forward to that show and that kind of thing. And then the photo of the month, this young man lives in Nashville. His grandparents live in Harriman. He's Eli Copeland, and he caught a 6-pound largemouth on Watts Bar. I think it was either Friday or Saturday after Thanksgiving. I was talking to him on the phone as I was coming over to the show tonight, and so he's going to be the photo of the month because he's the only one that sent me one. And I tried to print it off, and I messed up. So, but I've still got the email where he sent me the photo, so I'll have that probably next week's show. Give y'all a look at it. Nice looking bass, a young man, and in his 10, 12, 13 years old, and pretty bass. He caught it on a red fin. So they saw him breaking water, he and his grandpa, and he threw that red fin out there, and they were in the shad, chasing the shad, and caught that 6-pound bass, and it looked real good. So I've got promised him a shirt. I'm hoping to get it to his grandparents so they can get it to him. And all that kind of stuff is going on. So I can't believe we're not getting any phone calls. So
I've got an announcement, if you wouldn't mind.
No, go ahead.
Because on the video at our weigh-in, we talked about a tournament on December 7th, which is this Saturday.
Right.
We've actually canceled it. There's another club there in Blount County that fishes. That's the Poland Creek Catfish Club, I think is what it is. And the man that runs it, Stanley Birchfield, also runs Poland Creek Campground. He thought he was going to have a stent put in his yesterday, and right now they've kind of put that off. Don't know if they're going to, but he really wasn't able to have the tournament or fish it. We were going to combine my club and his club and see how many boats we could get there. And with the weather coming in and everything else, we sort of had a mutual agreement. We would just go ahead and postpone it or cancel it till we can get it done on another time. So,
all right, let's take this call.
Okay.
Hello, caller.
Oh, Steve Cox.
Hey, Mike.
How you doing, buddy?
Buddy, I'm doing good. How about you?
Well, I've enjoyed that whole segment on catfishing. I'll tell you that right now.
Well, that's good. I figured you would. I enjoyed it myself.
You know, the only catfishing I've done on Watts Bar, and I've lived there now, will be 30 years on December the 13th, in about another week. And the only catfishing I've ever done on Watts Bar is right off my dock at nighttime. Sitting underneath my underhang, I've got a little what I call a screen house down there, and I used to enjoy a lot of nights sitting down there with chicken livers catching catfish, and that's a heck of a sport, and it's good to see. They've got a catfish tournament trail now.
Yeah.
I'm just really proud to see that. But buddy, you're not going to guess where I'm at right now. I'm at the Isle of Palms, right outside of Charleston, South Carolina. And next to the house that I've got rented, there's a pond. It's got a 10-foot alligator sitting out there just looking at me at all times. But I do not sleep with my door open.
Boy, I tell you what, and I'm glad you called us from there. That sounds good. So you're streaming the show.
Yep, streaming the show.
All right.
I will tell you, the last 2 or 3 weeks, I've had trouble losing audio, and I know it doesn't have a thing to do with Channel 12, but it's got everything to do with my computer, and I get so doggone mad because just as soon as somebody's going to say something really important, whether it's you or your guest, I lose audio. Oh, yeah, that really is frustrating, I'll tell you that. But I did get to do something today. I haven't, since I went down with my back, my other hobby is playing golf, and a good buddy of mine I grew up with, as a matter of fact, is Brad Jones' wife, uncle, Butch Owens.
Mm-hmm.
I went to the golf course here at this complex today with him, and I was able to hit my driver and my second shot. I couldn't walk on the greens or anything, but I got to do that for the first time in 3 years. And I've also, tell you what I've done, Steve, I have rented 2 boat slips down there at the resort that bordered my house.
Mm-hmm.
And I told you about that pontoon
right.
that I've got. I only had a 30 on it. I had a 90 horsepower Everett put on it, and it's rigged out for any kind of fishing you want to do. It's got a patio heater on the front with 2 bass chairs and a trolling motor, and it's got an enclosed cabin with a little heater in it. And I want you to know it's rigged out for a handicap fisherman. I've got a 4-wheel walker that's also got a seat on it. So anytime if you have somebody that's handicapped you want to take fishing, I want you to know I'd be proud for you to come down there and get that pontoon boat and take them out in that. Anytime you want to do that.
Well, I appreciate
it's all ready for launching.
All right.
I'm having my student worker paint the engine back to the Everett color on it. It was kind of, kind of all scraped up and everything, but I'm putting the Everett color back on it. But when I get back home, I'll be home Sunday. That thing will be ready for launching next week, and it'll be there all the rest of the winter up until April. And if you want to take somebody fishing in it with heat, I don't care what degree it is outside, you can stay warm in that thing. So I want you to know you're welcome to it, okay?
All right, Mike, I appreciate that, and man, appreciate you calling. You have a safe trip, and watch that alligator.
Yeah.
I have one eye on that alligator,
Appreciate it, Mike. Thank you, buddy.
Thanks for having the Catfish Man on. That was a very informative show tonight.
All right. Thank you, bud.
All right, see y'all now.
See you.
Hey,
Go ahead, caller.
Yes, I have a question for Marty.
Go ahead.
Marty, I have a question. How can you possibly stand to fish with somebody who's good looking as your cousin Toby?
somehow I knew that had to be a preacher calling in. That's been a struggle for about 4 or 5 years now. It was
Keeps you humble, don't it?
Well, it was doing better when he got fat, but
Yeah. Well, I'm disappointed that you're giving away all of our trade secrets.
not all the secrets.
Oh, Lord.
If you had said the word drop shot, I was going to have to drive to wherever you were. Okay?
Well, no, I didn't mention what their secret weapon in the live well though either. So
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
That was-
No, we can't discuss that. That's
No.
top secret.
All right, guys. Be careful
All right.
here
Well,
now.
you have a good day, and I'm proud of you.
I see you, Tobe.
All right. Thank you, caller. Okay, folks. Right quick. Edgemore Outdoors. Jim, where the devil are you? Jim's planning on some big stuff over there between now and Christmas. So all you ladies, he's got the sunglasses and that kind of thing over there for anything that you might want. And so don't forget Edgemore Outdoors. Bunch Marines having a Black Friday or a holiday sales event. Got a bunch of stuff here that they've got on sale. Depth finders, HDS 10s, 7s, and the touch screens. Check down there at Bunch Marine and get in on some of these accessories if you want to upgrade some of your stuff. They've got the Hummingbirds also, along with Lowrance and that kind of thing. Trolling motors, Motor Guide, and Minn Kotas both. I'm looking at the slip here and got the onboard chargers, got them on sale. They're a 2-banker here is $249 normally. They're $219 on sale. Quantity of 2 of those, and some of these things right here, they've only got 1 of each of the items. So if you're interested in some electronics, trolling motors, onboard chargers, miscellaneous, they got hot foot throttles, 3 of those. Strike King sunglasses. Looks like he's got 26 pair of those. Some oil, TCW3 refills from the oil, got that kind of stuff. So give them a call down there at Bunch Marine and check things out. Reynolds Racing, talk to Glenn. He's got some stuff on sale down there. Got several boats I'd like to get rid of for sure. So if you're thinking about upgrading for the fishing season starts, folks, which as far as I'm concerned, they never quit, Marty.
Nope.
It's still right here. That kind of thing. Knox Area Rescues Ministries. Mountain Pizza still got their 1-topping, 2-topping pizzas on sale and still having karaoke on Saturday night. Tim's Tire. What can you say about Tim's Tire down there? Citizens First Bank. 5 local branches. Don't forget them. The Sign Shop and C&D Printing up there. Old Charlie Lane, don't forget him up there around Clinton, folks. If you need something on the some of your printing needs there done. But remember our sponsors. Marty, I can't thank you enough.
I thank you,
Yes, sir.
and the invitation's still there. Whenever you want to go, let me know, and we'll go try it one day.
Does it get too cold to catch them catfish?
Get too cold for me, but not for the catfish.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know, because we fished out some pretty cold weather for the bass, and that kind of thing. But man, I do want to get out with you. I really do. I like to get on there and let's get on it, and that kind of thing. So I can't wait till we can get hooked up, and I just hope the best for you and your club.
Thank you.
This coming year. I think you're going to pick up some more customers, and you guys, anytime you got something that you need, like for me to do, holler at me.
Will do. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Folks, God bless you. Hope to see you next week. don't forget Brandon Calder will be over, and we hope to have some fishing for him.
Africa's government saying Mandela died peacefully at home in the company of his family.
Our beloved Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela, the founding president of our democratic nation, has departed.
President Jacob Zuma saying Mandela will be given a state funeral. Mandela spent almost 3 months in a hospital earlier this year after being admitted with a recurring lung infection. He'd since been receiving treatment at home.
Fox News Radio's Simon Owen. Add Western Oregon and Northern